pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure. Cindy Green,
Here.
Kathy LaFontaine. Here. Krista Bose.
Here.
Cheryl Zalka. Here. And Bert Coleman.
Here. Thank you. Next item we have tonight is the presentation of agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to add to the agenda tonight?
Yes, the Emerald Ash Borer spraying project.
Ash borer or gypsy?
What?
Ash, emerald ash or gypsy?
That's the Emerald, no, not the
It's the
Thank you.
gypsy year.
Okay.
Gypsy, no,
Thank you for a minute.
Thank you. Gypsy. She has my books and stuff.
Don't do that.
Okay, so we'll add discussion of gypsy moth under item 13E. Is there anything else anybody would like to add to the agenda tonight? And hearing none, can I get a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Any support?
I'll support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, next item we have is public comment on agenda items only. No public comment. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Approval of the minutes from the February 9th, 2022 special board meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to review your minutes? If so, could I get a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Support? Support. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item would be to accept the minutes from the February 9th, 2022 regular board meeting. Could I get a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item we have tonight is a consent agenda, which contains the building department report, EMS report, office manager report, planning commission report, and the NEMC minutes. Is there anything anybody would like to remove from the consent agenda tonight? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Any support?
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item we have tonight are the financial reports.
I'm going to defer report to my deputy.
Okay. Can we do the approve and pay bills first before you get to the, is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, we'll do that real quick. Kathy has included the bills to be paid in the packet tonight. Any questions for Kathy? Ms. Bill? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve and pay bills as presented?
So moved.
Support? Support. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Next item we have the treasurer's report.
As indicated by the treasurer, as deputy treasurer, one of the responsibilities I've been given is to prepare the financial reports, which is the treasurer's report, the township investments report, and also the fiscal year revenue report. I've been doing that since I've been deputy treasurer. Tonight, I guess since I'm up here, I'm going to read into the record the funds in our account summary, which is the general fund, fire fund, $1,310,547.28. The tax account, $963,114.38, which should indicate for the record though that that was before we pay out the tax monies to the county and the school district. Those checks haven't cleared, so that account is much smaller. The other PNC account, $38,864.78. The investment accounts, $316,102.18, and purchase of development rights account, $25,229.78. The investment page really speaks for itself. We really want to direct my attention to the fiscal year revenue report. You're going to have in your packet, I think, an original report that was prepared on March 1st, and then an amended report, and then a third amendment that I prepared and did today. Let me back up a second and say that in the last week of February, when I former February report. I noticed it seemed to be something strange, and that was that we only had got, at that point, it looked like two revenue sharing checks, when we should have had 4. And then only one Comcast franchise check, when we should have had at least 3. So I called during the day, during the daytime job, to try to get hold of the Department of Treasury, find out what was going on with revenue sharing. I was not able to reach them. I had a message, and then I reached out to both the clerk and supervisor to see if they could follow up for me on that issue. I was told by the clerk that it wasn't in her purview, and I appreciate Chris following up with the Department of Treasury and also the online account to get information that we did receive 2 revenue sharing checks. So what did I do? I prepared the first amendment, which I believe you have, that showed the check that we received in December of $65,514, and then a check for $64,699. Both of those were direct deposit checks. None of those I had ever seen or had any records to put into my revenue report. I then asked the clerk to give me copies of the bank statements, because evidently I've been locked out. I lost my password to the general account. So I got a copy of the 7 months bank statements from June, July 1st till now, to see what other revenue I had missed on my revenue reports. And that third amendment, really one I gave you tonight, is the one I wanted to direct your attention to. That shows we've got 3 direct deposits of revenue sharing since October. One is October 67, 133. The ones I just mentioned in December and February. Then we got the Comcast revenue checks. The one in August that was previously on the report, and then the ones in November and February. Again, directly deposited. Nothing I had seen. Finally, we also have down in the local community stabilization act account, the 189,155, which was a direct deposit, which I didn't know of the amount. I assume that's the ARP funds. Again, direct deposit on the bank statement I didn't see until the clerk gave me those statements. And then there's the 32326 in February, which is certainly the local community stabilization act. So those highlighted figures on your last report show actually where the changes have been made. I should step back in a second. One of those earlier reports showed that I double indicated the income revenue for January, where I showed a line figure, I think, of $299,064. That actually was the fire EMS general and GPU that I had put down earlier. So your amended again report dated 3/9/22 is the correct report of revenue up to now. I'd asked the clerk from here on to give me a copy of the bank statement at the end of the month, which I understand now is not printed, but it's only online, so that I can keep the fiscal year revenue report correct. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Board have any questions for the treasurer or deputy treasurer regarding the treasurer's report? The only question I just have is, remember, to settle up for taxes, what do we have to do? And I guess what is that?
Well, we couldn't collect after March 1st. I have 3/4 of my half of the settlement done.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the assessor to do the worksheet. And once she gets the worksheet, we compare notes and I can settle the county.
Okay.
One quick, I don't know, whoever can answer, the local, the slab bank here, whatever, the 189, is that the money we dispersed last month? Or is that total, is that another amount?
The 189 under the
In
October, in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, 189, I put it on the local community stabilization act, but I assume, without knowing any records from the clerk, that was the ARP funds that we
Yeah.
received back in October.
But the ARP funds, we have 300,000.
We did, but they only released half at first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we haven't got the other part.
We haven't gotten one, we shouldn't get one.
Wondering about that.
That's not-
Can I just say, if you're a signer on the account, you can request the statements from the bank.
Unfortunately, I tried getting my password and it's no longer good, so that's why I was appreciative of Chris, and he got the information online.
This was that what I photoshopped him. He didn't get it online.
Yeah, I got my information, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I was under the impression that Chris got it online.
I was gonna call, and then I was talking to Kathy about it, and she could get a call, online. I didn't realize I could go to the bank and get statements myself too, just to review, so that's,
Yeah, I don't have time to go to the bank during the day to get statements, that's why I asked for the statements.
Yeah, you have to make appointments now, going to. You can't just walk into the bank and talk to somebody.
You could set up your password though, your own.
The administrator, I think the administrator of the account has to set it up, and I think, now that I'm not a treasurer, I think the clerk probably is the administrator of the account.
No.
who's the administrator? Oh, Cheryl? Okay. That's all new news to me as that whole process, so that's good to know. Okay, any other questions regarding treasury report, anything to do with treasury taxes, anything? Okay, hearing none, then the treasury report will stand as presented. Next item we have farmland preservation.
Yes, moving forward, we did quite met with Sharon yesterday on writing the easement account for the easement agreement between myself and the township. That we can work, get the survey, the legal description, the new legal description, and surveys all done, that's then being sent into the state. Going to Lansing tomorrow because the state is, their next cycle is being, their money being allocated. So we might be getting more money for you for the first one. I don't know at this time, but I don't know where it come in on the scoring, but we'll find that out tomorrow. So
Okay.
if it turns out, I'll let you guys know about project, if we got any more money coming in.
Okay.
Other, that's all I have right now.
Any questions for Vern before we move on?
So is that Board who built this property when I first know, or is that your property when I first know?
Tomorrow, mine is already done. This is the next cycle coming up, and that will be Phyllis's property that she put in. If we get the money, if it's scored where it needs to score.
Okay, well, thank you, Vern. Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the building report.
Just a couple of items for the board's, mostly just information tonight, nothing for action on. The painting has been completed, the carpet work is done throughout the building, so that is wrapped up. I know the supervisor asked for some pricing with regards to taking down the wall covering in some of the offices and doing some additional painting for next year's budget. I have not received that yet from Ron the painter, so as soon as we have that, I'll get that to you, the supervisor. But I think everything looks pretty good. I didn't see any flaws or anything in any of the work, so everything looks good, and I think it's going to put back together. Just to give the board an update on some of our discussions with regard to the ARPA funds from last meeting. We've started to get bids for the generator replacement work here at this building. It looks like that's going to come in a little higher than we might have initially thought. Everything, I guess, is just going up in price these days with regards to some of this. It looks like the bids will be just a little more than the money we set aside, but not all too much. I think we'll be able to make those adjustments as those come in. I hope to have those all together by the next meeting for you. Then we'll be able to make a decision and at least get the generator on order. We're being told initially by the contractors that we're looking at probably a 30-week delivery on the generator alone. So we probably want to get it on order so we get funds spent in what the government considers to be a timely fashion right now. The other item is I'm told that the first couple of weeks of April is when Ford will be taking orders for new vehicles through the county purchase program, and so I hope to have a price here at that meeting for the new truck, assuming that Ford has released that information. That may get pushed off to May, just because we can't order until Ford says they're ready to start accepting orders for those vehicles. The ambulance vehicle is on order, but I spoke to the factory last week, and while the boxes, the rear part of the ambulance, can be completed fairly quickly, they have most of the parts. Most of those parts are available to them. The actual chassis where the vehicle goes on, they have no information from the auto companies whether we should reject. So we're kind of, while we got the money and we know those areas that we want to spend it, we may be a bit delayed in some of that just based on issues that are outside of our control. The last thing I wanted to mention to the board this evening is right now I had met with kind of my staff this week, and as we look at things going forward, I think our current plan is going to be, assuming we don't see some variant resurgence with regards to COVID. None of us are hoping for that, certainly, but I think we want to just watch this a couple more weeks and make certain numbers stay down where they're at now with regards to COVID. As long as that continues to occur, we will break down the infusion center the first part of April, do the deep cleaning of that building, and hope, and my intent would be to have senior programming started again the first Monday in May. So that's kind of where we're headed. Again, that's all contingent on a pandemic that remains outside of our control. But that's the direction we're gonna head. So unless the board has any questions, that's all I have to report.
How's that building holding up over there, Jeff, overall?
Pretty good. It's the building itself is, I mean, structurally it's very sound. It was built out of of brick and cinder block, if you will. I mean, the building's never going to go down on its own. The roof's in decent shape. We had redone that a few years ago. We just had to do a furnace repair over there. I put a bill on the clerk's desk, I think, for it just yesterday or something that was, I think, $600 or $700, as I recall. One of the furnaces had an issue. But overall, I mean, the building is a good building. The inside was all redone recently. Well, what was it, about 2 years ago when we had the pipe burst in there, kind of thing. So the building's in fine shape in that regard. And I think it'll serve the township quite a few years. In the next couple of years, might have to just look at some paint for the outside of it again. I mean, every few years, that building has to be painted just to be kept up. And, maybe look at that.
Okay. Excellent. Any other questions for Jeff? Perfect. Thank you, Jeff. Next item we have is the assessor's report, which you have in your packet. Is there anything that the board would like me to take back to the assessor? Cheryl, did you get your answer you were looking for from the last meeting?
No, that's okay. I have to talk to her because I'm going to have to discuss the assessment report sheet, so I'll talk to her about that.
You need her nudged or something, let me know.
No, I know she's just busy with the March and being the time of review, so.
Okay. Any other questions for the assessor? Hearing none, we'll move on. Next item we have is unfinished business. As usual, you've got your marijuana articles in here. And then, does anybody have any updates on that? I haven't heard anything new from the state or federal level on that, really. If nobody has anything on that, we'll go on to the Stone 80 update. I talked to Harold yesterday, and he said that they're currently developing the advertising plan, and they're scheduled to have the auction open for the property on March 28th and close it 7 days later. I believe it's April 4th, would be the 7 days after that. So by the end of business day, April 4th, we'll know if we have a buyer on it and for how much. I'll keep the board apprised of that once I have that information from Harold. Any questions on that, or anything I could ask those guys about the auction process?
How will the closing go? Is it 30 days or something usually?
I think it was 30 days of the contract, I don't have that here. I
Yeah.
can, or with me.
Usually it's just a standard.
Yeah, I can look at it. I remember it being pretty standard, I read it through Sharon, she said also it's kind of standard contract. I can find that for the board. Okay, nothing else on that, we'll go on to new business. First item we have is Comcast update. Not a whole lot to update on that, I talked to Shannon Dolan, our communications attorney for our area. She said we did not make the second round for Comcast decision for the expansion, but there's gonna be multiple rounds coming up soon, so I'm gonna be contacting her every month, so I'm gonna keep that up, so I don't wanna miss an opportunity. They gave it to another community, not in Macomb County, so. But Jeff Yark, I talked to him last week, our state representative, he's gonna write a recommendation letter, and I'm gonna send along. And I think I can even get a recommendation letter from Senator Lauer's office to Comcast recommending our community for the grant program. So I'm gonna stay on top of that and hopefully get us in one of these rounds of grants. There's not much we need to do for that, there's no cost out of our pocket for it, because it's a Comcast grant that they award to communities. So that's how Arena got their expansion done, and they're still being expanded right now, so I'll keep the board updated on that. Any questions about Comcast?
Here's the thing.
Oh, for,
We got into a new contract for 21 months.
oh, for, oh, okay. Was that the Comcast update?
Yep.
Well, you guys all got an update on the broadband expansion. Sorry, Kathy, shouldn't have.
No, it's okay. You
told me
can
to shut
throw
up.
it out there.
Okay. So Kathy, would you mind explaining some of this to the board? The phone call.
I've just been going back and forth with Comcast for a couple months now. And they've been quoting me all kinds of great deals, but like I said before, until you actually see it, I'm not gonna believe them. Well, I went ahead and got it today, and I went ahead and did the DocuSign, and I got us locked in for 24 months at $369.72 instead of $552.70. And then Jeff, your side went down too, so I'm just gonna give you a copy of the contract for the EMS side. How you give us a check every year, will be a lot less.
Yeah.
They gave us a pretty good deal. So I was happy with that. Took a lot of arguing, sitting there listening.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you for all your work on that, Kathy. You know, it's kind of frustrating.
You know, it was worth it.
Any questions for Kathy regarding the Comcast phone system? Okay. Here we go, we'll move on to the personnel policy discussion. I know last month we were going to put it on here. I have been talking to Vern, and we really haven't had an opportunity to catch up and sit down yet between I've been doing the budget stuff. I know Vern's been busy, and we've had a few things come up here and there. So I still wanted it on the agenda tonight because I just wanted to reiterate with the board, ask the board if they had any input or anything regarding the updating the personnel policy. I did talk to Vern last week. We are going to set something up before the April meeting and have a good long discussion, come to the board with in April with some ideas and proposals. And in the meantime, if there's nothing tonight, just keep reviewing it. And
I just did want to say, as I contacted earlier, I did spend a lot of time with this Sunday. And I found a lot of things, they're not all of them are substantive, just some, we have things in here that are repeated 3, 4, 5 times. And so should I just give those to the both of you to look at?
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. If we can collect everybody's input, we're just going to lay it all on the table and go through it.
Okay. Okay, I will finish, I got to page 17 and then the basketball game, so we're gonna stop.
Okay. That's fair enough.
So I'll finish it up and then I'll do it on a neat page right now, I'll write all of it and get it to you guys. Okay?
I will be here from 3 till 9 next Thursday, the 17th, for board review. Not a lot to do, so that's what I'm going to do. So,
Well, I was trying to get to you then before that.
well, then maybe I can look at it then too. So
Okay.
I'll have all that time. So, okay. Do you have any questions or concerns about how personnel policy update before you run? Okay, here now, we'll go down to the drain cleanout match program. I would like to entertain a motion to discuss. Excited?
Motion.
Any support? Okay, I met with Dan Accavetti here a few weeks ago. He's the new Kennewick at the Macomb County Public Works Office, the Drain Commission. And I was just talking about drain cleanouts in our community, because we haven't really done anything for drain cleanouts in the last few years, and I just wanted to, I know there's some issues, and I just want to touch base with him. And they put together a couple projects that I know need some serious attention. The Schaefer and Holt drains, one project's along Freighterman and Pratt Road. The other one is Dealand and Boardman. It kind of runs along Pratt Road behind Harold's house. We put together two estimates, because I told them we had money from last year's budget and we have money in this year's budget. So I asked them if we could do two estimates, that way maybe we could do one out of the money we already have budgeted. And then after the budget year turns, we can agree to do maybe the next project. But as you can see, I put some numbers in here. Project number one, it's a little bit smaller project. That's the one over by Freighterman and Prim. The total project was $8,500, but our portion was only $2,900. And I thought it was a 50-50 match, but apparently it's a lot. The county kicks in a whole lot more than I originally expected. Because the project two, it's almost twice as long as project one. It's $18,600 for a total project cost, and our cost is only $6,750. So we had budgeted $5,000 from last year's budget. Well, that one, we had $5,000 that was approved in our current budget year, and then I'm proposing another $5,000 for the next budget year. Of course, it's proposed. So I just wanted to get the board's thoughts and opinions on doing some drain projects. So we'll start with Vern, if you don't mind.
Well, I think it's a good idea. The one up on, where it crosses Boardman Road, they would just go to Boardman Road, because then they're in the St. Clair County.
Yeah, what's up a little bit, it is a St. Clair, I think we'll go with coordinate that with St. Clair County, because I asked that question, I said, what happens, it's not very far, but it does go to St. Clair, so they would coordinate that with St. Clair.
Yeah. But they would be able to do all this, what you got shown on here?
Let's see, there's a little,
I'm presently looking at the one at Dealand. Starts at Dealand, goes all the way over to the
the wall, almost a wall there across the board. There's little tick marks in there, but it's 4,780 feet. I think it'll be mainly from, let's see that dark spot, Dealand and Boardman, that bottom right, that dark spot where the two drains come together. I think from that point going west is where they're mainly focusing. So I know there's some inlet problems where there's some natural water courses that dump in there that are pretty nasty, but it's all within the right of way of the county drain. They're gonna get in there and clean those out, and then take it all the way across the inlets and keep going west behind Harold's house. And then the other stretch goes down Craigman by Crimson Road, which I don't know if we probably get messages all the time for those new homes over there because they're getting flooded out. Because I think that's going very anyway.
So I think it's, a worthy project, and if we could do that much in one year, a good deal, I think.
Cindy, how do you feel about that?
Same for sure, I think it's, good idea, we get pretty good bang for buck
Sure.
on that, so.
A lot more than I expected.
Yeah, totally in favor of it.
Kevin?
I'm in favor of it, but what happened to Ken?
I don't know why he's not in there, but Dan took Ken's place. So, but I have no idea what happened. So, I haven't talked to Ken. Year and a half. It's been a long time. So,
Since the last time he made his field up front.
probably then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus he retired again.
I know, I was like, this wondering, that guy's retired a lot.
Yeah, it's okay. How do you feel about that project, Cheryl?
That's fine, we're just going to, because we've got 2,400 now in the bank of the drain. Which part of that, isn't that part of the 5,000 that we allocated just to keep that bank account above the 2,000 mark that was at first date?
Until our next one came, until
Right.
the next 5,000, that 2,000 that's in there is not dedicated towards the drain.
Well,
The 24,
Well,
it came out of the general fund
Did
to
it?
cover it, both of them did.
okay, so in other words, we don't have really anything in the drain account are saying that it's allocated for the grant.
Okay,
So
Okay.
we're looking at this year's budget of 5,000, and that's about what we have.
okay, so if I propose 5,000 for the next budget,
Then we need to have,
we would have 10, and if they did the project after the budget year turn,
Right.
then we would have the funds to do both projects pretty much at the same time then. Okay.
Unless you guys want me to check with John to find out if we can, I don't see any reason why we couldn't keep the 24 in there. It would go back to it's gonna go back to the general
Well, I
fund.
thought we were, when we started this, wasn't we gonna let that fund build?
Well, yeah, it was
did.
building, but we
Then
changed
then
banks.
we also did the big one on
Yeah.
next to me, which took everything out of
Yeah,
there, just
okay,
10
yeah.
grand out of it.
That's a good project.
Yeah, they did a major length and major digging too.
Right.
And there was only 10,000 in there at the time, so
Yeah.
we couldn't drain it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And we took money from the general fund,
So-
so their first state
Right.
account.
So basically what we did do is just, instead of putting 5,000, just put the difference between the 24 and 5
In there.
in there
And
instead,
then-
and this way it'd be in the drain fund, and we wouldn't know the township any, the difference. kind of. So we could-
So in other words, the next fiscal year we'll have 74 in there
Yeah.
towards drains, and that's it.
Okay. We can try to get a little bit more proposed in there to cover the full projects. I think it was 80, for that little 8,700 for both.
You know, we can figure out if we can pull it. We gotta let them know,
Yeah.
see where the budget comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, that's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a good
Then we
deal.
don't have to, like Cheryl said.
Yeah, we're gonna do kind of just get matched out if we
Yeah.
need it.
So will we then make the motion at the time? Because we're not in that fiscal year point,
When
right
does he,
now, obviously.
when does he have to know?
I don't know when he needs to know.
There used to be like a order, a list to who they can get to at what time, depending on when you pull them. I don't know if it's that way anymore.
That I'm not sure of. But I could get some information on that. This might be just a quick discussion at the next meeting.
Could be, and then we just wait for that bill from Candace Lauren, and then we pay for it, so once she fills out.
We have time, because I don't think they're gonna do anything with it.
Not right now.
Right.
No.
Definitely not the next month. I'm thinking probably June would be the earliest I could see them getting in there to do that.
So we might be into the next fiscal year.
Right.
So it isn't a hurry to wait.
Correct.
Okay.
So we will table this topic, but I'll get some deadline information for you and we'll go from there. Okey-dokey. Next item we have tonight then would be the grant application update. Since I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Steve Gasson. He's got all kinds of information for us on this.
Good
Steve?
evening. With Sir God's help, we've been working on your application for to the Land and Water Conservation Fund. The application would require a grant amount. We would request a grant of $450,000 to $475,000, but the application also requires a match of 50% in order to get it. One of the, as I was going through the regulations of what we needed from the board, it kind of put a red flag up to me, and I'm here to talk to you about that. It specifically asks that you pass a resolution guaranteeing that that money is available as a match at this time of the resolution. And I'm not certain from talking from individuals here that that is the case. So I'm comfortable moving ahead and requesting you to do a resolution for that. There are a number of things that the application requires that we can respond to and probably do a decent job, but there are also other things that we can't respond to at this point, like there's got to, if you get an extra 20 to 30, at least 30 points, it's all pointless. If you have a recreation committee, we do not. There are other things. If you have your park plan that's reviewed by an individual in your community that is proficient in handicap design or is a handicap individual organization, those kind of things. But the key, so I don't think it would hurt us if we delayed this project for another year as we got the they got the recreation committee going and started pulling things together, but I'm not certain at this point that we can proceed because of that requirement of financing.
Okay. Can you, I don't know if we're all, and I'm still learning about this point system, can you briefly explain the point space you were just talking about with the recreation committee? We get 30 points. What are those points? Just explain to the board what are those points good for, how do they benefit us?
Everything is based on a total number of points in your application you get. Now, you can get up to 380 points, and then they'll take that and they'll rank them, and then they'll fund accordingly. As I've heard from the clerk, they will work with us if we have, once they go through and award it, and if they think that we still are eligible, they'll work with us to increase our points. So they're not there to throw us out. But there are a number of things that you score higher on. Public support, I mean, that's easy to do. We can get a letter from our representative, those kind of things. There's some like park visibility. Do people know it's a public park now? How is it recognized as a public park? If you want to put a sign up if you don't have one. How do they get to it? You know, that kind of thing. You get points for sustainable design. If there's actually a mechanism that the trail that we're going to fly for has various slopes that we're showing that'll be more wheelchair accessible. If there's going to be a path from the parking lot to the trail, that kind of thing, you get additional points for. You get points for renovation of existing facilities that have been around for a long time. We would get more points because we haven't received a grant in the last 10 years. That's to our advantage. We're first time. That helps. You get points based on the income levels of the immediate area. 50 points if you're a low income area. These just types of things. And then, you know, how the application, does it clearly demonstrate the existing facilities? These are things that we put in there. And you have to guarantee that there's going to be no entrance fees or anything in the park. That gives you another 30 points. Those are the types of things. Everything is based on, and there's quite a few points, 45 points on things like ADA accessible. Yeah. It also requires, like I said, you have to have a recreation committee. It can't be the planning commission. It specifically says it can't be the planning commission, so we have to appoint another committee. It says we need a dedicated budget for that committee and for recreation programming and future programmings in the park. So these are all things that I think we can better off work on. And not that we can't submit an application, but the key again is I can't recommend to you that you, I don't want to say, mislead the state by saying you might have the money. They really want to know that the money is dedicated.
Right. Okay. How early can we apply? If we did wait, how early can we apply? I know the deadline's April 1st, but can we apply in the fall?
They used to have a fall period. I'll have to check. It used to be October 1st, but for sure the other year. Are there any other parks that come available? There's a trail system too that sometimes offers grants. Grants. We can look at that too. But until we get a guaranteed match, I think we're on hold.
Okay. I'll start with I'll start with Cheryl. How do you feel, Cheryl, about Steve has said tonight?
Well, I think that you can't really advance until we get rid of this, don't even have some potential amount of money available.
Right.
So I think within another year, we'll be, I think it's going to really hurt anything as far as price.
Right.
Then get, make sure we know we have.
That's just.
Yeah, we're also going to find out what grants that are available too, besides swimming or something else out there. Kathy?
I'll go to someone else first, I'm still looking for something.
Okay. Cindy, how do you feel?
Sure, I get it. I'm fine waiting another year. I did have, I guess, question, the list that you have, is that something that's available online for us to look at? Like when you were talking about a recreation commission, it can't be the planning commission.
Yeah, I can
do.
find-
Okay, that would be great. Did they give you other qualifiers? Does it have to be so many people? Does there have to be a board member on there? Does there, I mean,
It gives you a lot of information. I don't know if it goes into that detail, the recreation committee itself, but
Okay.
it talks about the recreation committee. I can also provide you with a listing of the types of projects that received approval last year.
okay.
It can give you an idea of what they're approving.
And then, does, with the recreation commission or committee, whatever, and having a sign up and those types of things, is there, does it have to be up 6 months before? Is that something that we can look at next month, designing a sign to go up there? Can it just be a sign, perhaps, like the state of Michigan makes for, or does it have to be more elaborate?
No,
That type
it
of
can just be a
things.
committee assigned by the board at any time. You just need to have it in effect, you should have it in effect prior to your apply.
And then the road sign the same way, or the sign announcing this is the park, just has to be
There's some
something
little things, a
basic.
lot of little things we can do. That
Yeah,
can
because we
help
should
us.
just start taking those off.
And that would be my suggestion, we just start doing it so we come in
You
with
know-
a really high application.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for absolute sure. Okay, thank you.
I'm hearing somebody that might want to be on the committee.
Maybe, if we're allowed.
Right?
Two things that I come across in that big book was that the MDNR Natural Resource Trust Fund Development Grant, maximum of $300,000, requires a 25% match. And then the MDNR Recreation Passport Grant Development Grant, $150,000 max. That application deadline is from April 1st. And then Andrea also sent a private philanthropy, am I saying it right? Of the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation, who invests in parks and trails. And she can help guide us through this. And they go like a third, and a third is how they grant their money. But we could use a third of their grant as part of our match.
That would be great.
And so I've got the information on him, and I met that guy too. He's a pretty nice guy. He's got a lot of money to give out, so I wouldn't mind standing in
And
line.
then the idea if we could do something like that.
Yeah. So I'll get with you, Steve, and forward you the information that she,
I am aware the passport grant is $150,000, but
Yeah.
that won't cover our project, so.
but I was wondering that 25%, because you're saying there's a 50% match. We have to
Land
have
and water,
50%.
according to what here, my regulations that I see here is a 50% match minimum.
Yeah, that, like I say, I'll dig more into what,
I'm sorry?
I'll dig more into what she sent.
Perfect.
You know.
Perfect.
And we can talk about it, but I wouldn't even mind, in the meantime, like you say, we can wait till next year, but we can apply for that
Anything we can get ahead of.
Ralph C. Wilson
And
Foundation.
you said it's the match, part of our match.
Right,
Yeah.
part of our match, heck yeah.
I'd be happy to help work on that.
Between that and then the Stone 80, and hopefully be able to put some more money into our account we have set up, which will give us some points, hopefully.
Vern?
I agree with what Cheryl said.
Okay.
You know, we need to have some more money there. so.
And I'd rather go ahead with a project with this deal, having all the ducks in a row, have the money ready to go, and just. Okay. So, we need to make a motion to pull off here.
No, but how long our engineering plans stand up
Oh, yeah.
a year later?
For the pathway, they're ready to go. We just need to put the specs together. They sent you the preliminary layout.
Right.
I don't want to send you a lot of details. So that is not completely, could be attached to the application. They don't need to see the entire specs at this point. We develop those when you tell me it's ready to go out for bids, ready construction. But for now, it's good to go for presentation.
So nothing we need to update if we waited a year for the application.
No, unless you
Might
change
want
the
to do
layout.
is put some of those 88 notes on there, but that's it. But it's a matter of already talking about that, that's easily done.
And we don't have a whole lot of elevation differences out there, so even from the parking lot to the project, you're not gonna have to worry about a whole lot of stuff, I don't think.
Well, we haven't done the survey yet,
Okay.
so, it could change a little bit, you know, with the ditch being there, but nothing that we cannot handle.
Sure.
But the general layout will remain the same.
So, and I guess, well, before we move on to, if we're gonna wait, would it be advantageous of us to contact maybe Christensen's about farming that?
Yeah, I think we,
Can we, can
we're not
we,
gonna do nothing with it this year.
can we still do that and be able to apply for a grant? So isn't there something about it?
I thought the grant, they used to do it twice a year, right?
Used to, yeah.
But I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think they're only doing it once a year. So the driveway will not be until next April again.
I'm
Right?
sorry.
We won't be able to apply again until next April again.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah.
But we're not getting that matching grant.
Yeah. So
Correct.
I think we got all kinds of time to, and then we could just like Kathy said, if we could go and maybe get that other grant, and put with the money we get if we do sell this home. We might not sell this home. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, right? I hate to be committed to that fall through or something.
Yeah.
I'm happy to provide you a list of things you could do over the next year that would enhance all your,
That'd be
Just
awesome.
keep,
Yeah,
just keep building on it. Those kind.
Yeah,
city said we could just start checking them off.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
So in the meantime, as far as the property, we
I think we rented it.
to rent it for the year?
We did like they did last year, she didn't put rent on it for that purpose, she just
Correct.
wrote the check.
Yeah.
Correct.
And we used it for, right.
Sure. I like that.
Good idea.
Do this, yeah. Okay. All right, fantastic. There's nothing else for it. From the next item would be Vern's gypsy moth program. And I just learned about this yesterday afternoon, so I think half the floor, so.
Terry Gibb from the Michigan Extension emailed me this week, and first of all, she apologized. They have found that the gypsy moth is in the Memphis Cemetery. Trees in there are pretty tested, I guess. And they want to know if we want to spray it. It was, what happened, it kind of pushed up against her for time, because she went to the city of Memphis and asked them if they wanted to do it, thinking that they owned the cemetery, and then they told her she didn't, so that's when she emailed me. She would have been here tonight, but she had other meetings to go to, that she's trying to do the same, get this all coordinated, so she asked me, or I told her I could, ask you guys to handle it. So there's about roughly 15 acres over there, and that's figured at big, and it's $145 an acre to spray it. Comes to like between $21 and $2,200 to spray that. It's, we did the 50 over here
Yeah,
last
I remember
year.
that.
Big hand, I thought it was less than that. Chris reminded me it was
Like
like 7,000.
It's, yes, 78, I think, 7,800.
Yeah, so this would be 20, so she basically, all she wants to know, do we want to do it? And, I guess our question is, do we have the money to do it, right? Yeah, I think there's money there, but we could.
Do we get
But
any,
we did budget to get it.
No, we didn't. do we get any feedback from spraying last year? Like, did they confirm that it was effective or it wasn't?
Not that I know.
And she told us at the meeting, it doesn't get rid of them, it just kind
No,
of
you're right.
controls them.
Yeah, you're right, it doesn't.
So it's not like a cure-all.
No.
Yeah. It's just basically keep it under control down in that area.
She says they usually run in cycles. It'll be like this for a few years, and all of a sudden it'll be gone.
Okay.
And how much is she charging an acre this year? What are they?
She told me 145.
And now they charged us 140, and it was 7,462 for 53 homes for you.
Yeah.
So that's not bad of an increase compared to
No,
what things are costing.
Compared to,
For sure.
Yeah.
So, I feel we should do it again, so that's my opinion. It's up to the board, if we are going to do it, we're going to do it. But we did budget for it.
I think in capital outlay, we did 5,000 for IT services for a phone system that we just didn't do anything with the phone system. Like upgrade it.
I'm trying to figure out where we can.
No. 50,000 on the game.
I know. They have to know by when next
Like
meeting.
a month ago.
I thought it was April last year.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
So-
everybody, you know.
Between our overage on our, now this is, I'm just throwing this out there, on our carpet and our paint. I mean, even Cindy was saying we'll just have to amend the general fund budget for it. If that's something that I do believe that we should take care of, and you're only gonna tack on another 2,000 to it, I think we should do it. I would say I'm pretty like 75% sure we could get it out of the budget. But if we can't, I don't see us not being able to just amend the budget.
Okay. How's the board feel? Bernie said you're good with it, Cindy?
Yeah, I think we should as well.
Yeah, you said you're good. Cheryl, how do you feel?
Well, I think okay, cemetery,
Yeah.
unless it's affecting the residents.
Right. Well, with that said, I guess I'll entertain a motion to move forward with the gypsy moss spraying for a cost
Of the Methodist Cemetery.
of the cemetery for a cost
Not to
exceed
exceed,
2,200.
not to exceed 2,200. So I think it's gonna be less. Chief figured it might be less, because what they'll do is they'll find out exactly how many acres there. Chief figured it a little bit bigger, so that the cemetery isn't all trees. So, I mean, I think they'll size that down, so we might get it cheaper than that,
Right.
is what Chief was telling me.
Is there anybody, like the ones that we did last year, there were areas around that it made it cheaper because they could fly and do it?
Yeah.
She says there were more people that did it. Is there anybody in Memphis that's doing it that would?
Not that I know of. Yeah.
Excuse me? She came and talked to the Memphis board last month. I don't know, at the time, they didn't decide anything at that meeting, but if you're interested, I would say call them tomorrow and tell them you're looking into doing the cemetery, because I know she said the trees down Main Street and several of the other larger section
Yeah, they
of
were last year.
they were really bad this year. So, you know, I don't know what they decided, even if they did, but if, she was saying if more people get into it, you know, and they can expand it, it might even be cheaper, so I would just suggest call Memphis and see what they decided.
I think they said about, hey, it was more people in the area that they come up and down.
I think they're the thing. I'll get in touch with her and find out. You know, we need a motion here for.
Not to exceed the 2,200.
Yeah.
So you made that motion. You get support?
Or,
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Sure.
Motion's carried. Okay, next item we have items for next agenda. I've got personnel policy.
Stone Annie's gonna have to still be in
Facility,
personnel policy.
drain. Anything else anybody can think of at the moment? Feel free to let us know and we'll get it on there. Next item we have is call the board. Anybody have anything else for the board? No?
Yeah, it's in, the other day when we had a meeting about, we talked about several things, some of the stuff on ordinance violations and stuff, and we talked with Steve about the setbacks.
Yes,
The outer, the
accessory buildings.
accessory buildings on property. We have been using the wrong setbacks, our building department has been telling people.
Right.
They've been using the ones that go to the house, and when you go to the accessory buildings, those change. we recommended to have a meeting with Steve and you, Chris, and Chris of the office manager, to get everybody on the same page. And we're not sure if Charlie's been catching this either. We don't. So that's why I'm bringing up that now, because Steve's here. He's in here every, Thursday? Or every other Thursday?
Every other Thursday.
And I talked to Steve tonight, actually I called him earlier today, left a message, he gave me the new sheet that we could be using in the office. He explained it to me before the meeting tonight, and
Okay, you already taken care of it.
I gave Chris.
I'm going to meet with Chris Bertle tomorrow morning and go over everything. If three of us need to meet, so be it, we can. I just feel with you coming in and me leaving, it would be a while, so that's why I want to get with Steve tonight, which I have. I got all the new stuff that we need to be following, and
We don't know how many people this has affected. It might not have affected anybody, or very few, but we need to know. Like I say,
yeah,
somebody needs to tell Charlie that, maybe he caught all these and he knew that they didn't have to be.
that's going to be part of my meeting tomorrow, but there is saying how I can talk to Steve. The best thing I think we could do at this point, we have the new stuff, throw away what he's been using, use this from just the ordinance, how do we go back and can't go back and.
Oh, you can't do
Is the new guidelines larger or smaller than what we were using?
Well, the house setbacks are larger than when you go to accessories. They should usually shrink down a little bit, right, Steve?
Accessory buildings can typically go closer to the property line than what a house can go. So they've been required to be set back a little bit more than they needed to be, but it didn't affect anything, it's actually better.
Well, that's what I was more concerned that it was
Well,
too
yeah,
close,
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's why I think at this point, we just make the correction with her and throw away what you've been using, give her this, and just move forward from here on out.
I think that's your best route.
So we'll take care of that tomorrow morning. Anything else on that?
Can we put appointing a recreation commission on there?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Try to get some more points. Try to do that.
We just got to figure out our requirements for
Well,
the commission. So
If Steve gives that to me, I will look into that maybe tomorrow. and see.
I'm sorry?
If you send me the point system with the recreation board mentioned, if you could email that to me tomorrow, maybe I will check into that and see what the requirements are, as far as who needs to be on there, whatever.
I'm happy to.
Thank you.
That would be
Then I can
awesome.
let you know.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. Great. Anything else for call to order? Hearing none, general public comment?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that we had the same presentation on Gypsy Moss at Lennox Township the other night. And I found it very interesting that they now concluded, it was in the paper yesterday, that Gypsy Moss, that word gypsy is derogatory. And they're now changing that name to Spongy Moss.
I was
Moss.
kind of waiting for that
Oh, my.
to say this, but.
Yeah.
I knew that was
Oh, my.
So what do we call it, Steve?
spongy.
Spongy.
They had a picture of it.
I just found that interesting.
Spongy.
Yeah.
Okay. They stood. Thank you for this. Okay. Hearing nothing else, I'll give a motion to adjourn tonight. So move. Support. All fair side?
Aye.